celebrating 15 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, Nikitia Thompson.
This is Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and these are stories that spotlight possibility. We introduce you to great people, and my guest today is Nikitia Thompson. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
I knew you as someone that had an engineering background. You received the Diamond Award in real estate, and I've been trying to reconcile and connect the two. Did you ever think you would end up doing this?
No, not in a million years. I went to school. I was an average student. I struggled in engineering, but I was going to get my degree. And when I finished school, I went and I did engineering for 10 years, and I liked it.
Why did you choose engineering?
I was good in science and math. And you know what? I think I was good in science and math. I think I was better in science and math, but I was an average student. I struggled in taking standardized testing. I was not a good standardized test taker. So when I went to college, I had to take some remedial courses to get me through. And I kept studying and I kept going. And in my mind, I was going to be an engineer. I was hung around with my dad. He did a lot of things as far as building, and he had a mechanical, so I was always under the hood with him. We were always rebuilding things, and I just knew I was going to be an engineer. That was my dream.
Let's talk about your parents. Let's talk about your beginnings and their beginnings, because before we started the show today, we were talking, and you kept saying, I mean, you said it a number of times, you said, I never imagined I would be here. Here was not a possibility. But then we were talking about your mother's influence on your life, your parents' influence on your life. Introduce us to your inspiration.
Richard Davis and Blenza Davis are my parents. My mother grew up very poor, very poor. She went to school in a room where they had grades, kindergarten through 6th grade.
Was that here in Knoxville?
That was in Louisville, Tennessee. And she knew that she was not prepared for high school. She knew that she was not prepared for college. But she knew, and her parents knew, she was going to go to college. And she worked, and when she completed her degree, she went on and she got her master's. And she knew she was going to be a teacher, and she knew she was going to educate children and give them the opportunity so that they wouldn't struggle like her.
Now you said, but you've said a number of times, she knew. Yeah. She knew.
It wasn't an option.
Where does that sense of knowing and determination come from? And have you talked to her about the intensity of her drive?
She wanted a better life for her, and she wanted a better life for her family. And she knew she had to continue. My mother went back to school when I was born, and I can remember when she had to write a paper, she would break out in hives every single time because it was that stressful. But she knew that she was going to have to do it, and she knew she wanted a better life for us. It wasn't a possibility. College was never an option. Being successful was never an option. When we would leave the house, she would say, when you leave here with my name, and you need to come back as a respectable young lady. You need to do all the right things. You need to educate yourself, and you need to be prepared for life.
Where were they running from?
I think they were running to a better life. And I think, both of my parents are Christians, and they know God. And they know that God definitely has a better plan. And it's over and over that when we talk, they say every generation should get better. It's your job that the next generation builds on the generation before. That's not an option. If my parents, neither one of their, let's see, my dad's father only went to the 6th grade. His mother did graduate from high school, and both of my mother's parents graduated from high school. So the following generation, they had to go to college. And then the next generation, we had to go to college and now own my own business, and it had to grow. We just graduated, my niece just graduated from Princeton, and she's going to med school. So it's just we should build our family, and the legacy should continue, and it should get better. That's not even an option.
Let's take a break. Nikitia Thompson is my guest. This show is about possibility, and this is one possibility story. More in a moment.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
Quickly, you'll start gearing toward what your passion is without you even knowing, because I never thought I would give up engineering to do real estate.
This is Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and I hope as you watch these conversations, you not only will enjoy the stories of my great friends like Nikitia Thompson, but you also will remember the possibility for your life. And no matter at whatever stage or age you are, there's always possibility. There's always something you can do beyond where you are right now. And that's what we do. We shine a spotlight on possibility. Thank you for being here today. And, you know, as you were telling the story of your parents and about building from generation to generation, did you believe that you had to succeed for them or for you?
Both, and for the future.
So let's start your story then.
Okay.
They make it. They succeed against the odds. You grow up with a better life because of them.
Yes.
You could have just settled into that better life.
I guess the way that we were grown up, the way that we were brought up is it was always to strive to do more. They didn't feel like they had made it. They didn't feel like that they grew up in the 60s. You know, my parents couldn't even sit on the front of the bus. There were schools, my dad was one of the best basketball players. He couldn't attend UT at the time. He went to Tennessee State. So there were things that in their life, they didn't have the opportunity. It was the 60s before they were really able to get good jobs. So if you're not able to get good jobs till you're in your 20s and 30s, and we have the opportunity not only to achieve and get a good education and go on and build a great life, we have the opportunity to move up. And we owe it not only to our parents, we owe it to the people that came even before them, the struggle.
So do you believe that your life is the fulfillment of your dream or theirs?
Still both, because that is my dream. I do want to be successful. I do want my children to see me successful. I think we owe it to those that come behind us. We owe it. It's not even a choice.
Right, so your story starts, you decide to go to school for engineering, and you get into engineering, great field, great job, great money. When do you make the decision, and you have children, so I guess this would be a great space to tell me about your children and your family.
Okay, I have 3 children. I have Brooke, which she's my oldest. She's a senior at the University of Tennessee. She'll be graduating in December in supply chain management. I have a son who goes to Northern Kentucky University, and he plays soccer, and he's getting his degree in computer information technology. And then I have Tiana, who's my baby, and she's not really a baby because she's on her way to MTSU, and she has a full soccer scholarship, and she'll be playing there, and her desire is to be a lawyer.
And then you're raising a husband as well.
Yes. And I have a husband who, he has his own company, and he actually works with me now because I'm so busy. So he says he's an assistant. He'll like that, right? Of mine. But yeah, and we've dated since we were 14, so our journey's been together.
Talk about that. Leroy Thompson, you've dated since you were 14 years old.
Yes, yes. My mother was his principal. And the story is, she came home and she said, there is the cutest little boy that just came. It's Sorrell Yarbrough's brother. Well, I'm a year older than Leroy, and I said, Leroy, I said, I know him. I said, I knew him. I was a baby road runner cheerleader, and he played. And I was like, but nah. And then we ended up coming together, and he asked if I would be his girlfriend, and I said no 3 times. And then we finally went together, and we dated all the way through high school and dated on and off in college. And 2 years after he went pro, we got married, and I continued to want to work. So I worked until 1 year, and then we came back, and I continued because I had worked really, really hard in engineering. Like I said, I don't do well on standardized testing, so testing was not easy in college for me. I was in the library 24/7. I had to really study to make grades to graduate. And came back and went into engineering and loved it.
Now, just for the record, so we can give him a hard time when he
Right.
sees this,
Right.
is it Leroy or Leroy?
That's a long story. His name, he's really going to get me now. His name is Euless Leroy Thompson.
Right.
His grandmother calls him Euless Leroy. That's his name. His mama calls him, or mother called him, Leroy.
Okay.
I called him Leroy, but when he went pro, his name was Euless Leroy. People started calling him Leroy. He likes that. He asked me to call him that, and that was not going to happen. So basically, I call him Leroy. Everybody else calls him Leroy. So
I finally have clarity on that. Thank you very much for that. So engineering, you're doing well, and you didn't want to give up working because you had invested so much
in
to
it.
bring yourself to that point, and also this generational drive.
Yes.
You have to do something. You're not the just go raise the kids and be his wife. You are your own person, your own dreams, goals, and aspirations. But you're doing engineering, a world away from real estate where you are now. When did you make that decision?
Well, I was actually one of his classmates. Our kids played together, and we were having the girl talk, and she said, if you had a choice to do anything, what would you do? I said, oh, I'll do real estate. I've always liked real estate. I always loved real estate, but I had an engineering degree. Why would I go into real estate? And I had invested all this time, all this money, and I really did like it. And she said, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you just do it on the side? And I was like, yeah, I may do it later on. Well, a year later, that same friend called me, and she said, I'm going to buy a house, and you're going to be my real estate agent. And I said, okay, I don't have a license. And she said, well, you need to go get one. She said, because I'm buying a house. Went to get my license. Before my license came back, we had found our house. That was the first deal. Loved it. Had a second client, had a third client. Got up every morning. Loved what I want. Loved doing it. Engineering, I liked it because I had the background, but I didn't have a passion for it.
Right.
It didn't drive me. It was good money. It took care of my family's needs. However, I didn't have the drive for it. And quickly, you'll start gearing toward what your passion is without you even knowing, because I never thought I would give up engineering to do real estate. And then the people just started referring and coming. I don't do any advertisement, none. I've probably advertised once or twice a year just to say I did it. It comes from referrals.
There's a proverb that I love that says, seest thou a person diligent in their business, they'll stand before kings. Excellence has a magnetic quality in and of itself. So let me ask you, it seems to me that there is an urgency in your family and your DNA to not only do better, but to help someone, because your mother is so committed to helping people. When we come back, I want to talk about two things. Number one, the need to help people. Number two, the most significant challenge you've had to overcome so you could realize the possibility of your life. Nikitia Thompson is my guest. This is Anything is Possible. I love this. More in a moment.
Coming up.
So someone else took their time out to give, to make me successful. I have to be not only successful for myself, I have to be successful for them. And I also have to pull people, a pipeline of people behind me.
This is Anything is Possible. This is Nikitia Thompson. I love your spirit. Just sitting here talking to you about your life and your journey and about possibility, there is an energy that comes off of you that is joyfully defiant. And let me explain what I mean. I'm gonna make it. This is going to happen. even if I don't imagine that I'm the one that's supposed to do it, once I make up my mind, I'm going in the direction. And it's all over you. Like, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. And when we were talking off the air, you were saying you really do stand on the shoulders of other people. It's not your spirit alone. It's almost like you've collected the spirits of all the people that have modeled for you this type of joyful commitment or defiance that says failure's not an option.
Right.
Success is my future.
Right. Definitely.
Who are those people? Name them.
Of course, we're going to start with my parents.
You
My
talk
mother.
to your mother every morning?
Every morning, I get up, I say, "Good morning, God," and I call my mother. And she doesn't leave the house till she has a conversation with my sister and I.
Wow.
She wakes first every single morning. There's
What
not
do you
a
say? What are those conversations like?
"Good morning, Mom. What are you doing? What's going on?"
Why
but
is that so vital to you? Why is that important?
Because she put in me, my mother she's a machine. I don't even see how she does what she does. If I can accomplish half of what she does with as little as she had, then I would be doing well. And when I say that is her whole day is spent, from morning till she goes to bed. She takes a power nap because she needs one. It's with helping people where I need to go, who needs what, this isn't right, I'm working on this. It's always for others. She put people in front of me. I had the opportunity to be on the KUB board and working with Mentha Roach.
Right.
There's nothing better. I've been on there for 14 years.
Did you chair the board?
Yeah, I was 2 years chair.
And you were the first African-American female on the board, I believe.
Yes, and the first African-American chair, of course, also. But Mentha was one that you watched, and it was all about the people. And you become successful really because of the people around you, and the people that told me I could do it. And I believed that I could, but I needed that support. Some of us have that support. I need to know there's people around me. There's my sorority, there's a Delta Sigma Theta, there's a sea of red army sea behind me of women standing, professional women that are helping me. My mother is behind me, helping me. All the ladies that she introduced me to. When I went into engineering, I went to MTSU, and I was in technology. And a female teacher came up to me. She said, "Do not do a 4-year degree and not get an engineering degree." So someone else took their time out to give, to make me successful. I have to be not only successful for myself, I have to be successful for them. And I also have to pull people, a pipeline of people behind me to follow and be successful.
What's the most significant challenge you've had to overcome? Because every person of possibility that has gone on to be quote unquote successful, and the definition of success really is very subjective. What's the most significant thing you've had to overcome? Everyone I've talked to has had a moment. They had to get over something. And in fact, you don't even feel the success unless you power through something.
I think powering through me not being confident in a couple of things. Coming here and talking to you, I think I told you I would rather do just about anything than to sit down and be interviewed. Getting up in front of people, but people got up in front of me. When they asked me to be on the board, I thought, I don't know all of that to be on the board. Why would they ask me? But you get on there and you learn everybody else is there, and they have a weakness and they have a strength. You need to bring your strengths. And I understood that I have strengths, and I build on those strengths. And I have people around me. My company is built, I have the ladies in the front that answer the phone. I have a hub because I don't like to do paperwork. I don't get paid, and I'm the owner, if I don't have my paperwork. It's set up. So I have quality control from engineering set in place to help me be successful.
Let me ask you this. What is your message to your children? Because you are living to represent what your mother and your father put in you and all the people that have supported you. And now you have children coming behind you.
Right.
If you look at each of them and you were to say, look, let me cast a vision over your life. Let me speak into your life. What would you say?
That anything's possible. I would tell them that. Hard work. I may not score harder. I may not score higher than you on a test, but you're not going to outwork me. And I have my children, all three of my children are so different. So one message to one would be different than the other. My oldest daughter, she's probably balanced. She kind of has it all together. Everything kind of balances it out. My youngest daughter is her daddy's child. She's overconfident and she can do anything, so we need to taper that because you can't do everything, and you have a lot of gifts, but you have to back that up with some hard work. My son probably needs a little bit more confidence. We have to push him, and he's now seeing that. One of the reasons that I had a flexible schedule is for him. I mean, we took him to speech, and we didn't know if he was going to get in college. He's going into his junior year, so anything is possible.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being here today and being a representative, an example of possibility. I love the force of possibility in your life, like this surge of possibility that is running through generations, and I know more good things are to come. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Nikitia Thompson, a representative of possibility, a story of possibility. We'll see you next time.